What if trying to control your emotions was only making them worse? And there's a much simpler way to master them right now. That's what today's episode is all about.
Life is beautiful.
The Theo Bros Podcast.
Yo, how we doing? I am Mike Theo.
I am Nick Theo,
And you are listening to the Theo Bros Podcast.
where you can count on daily wisdom to get your mind right. So I just learned something really cool. In Irish, when you talk about emotion, you don't say, I am sad. You'd say, sadness is on me. Tabron on. And I love that because it's a standard of not identifying with the emotion. You're saying sadness is on me for now, but later something else will be on me. And that's an extremely powerful thing to recognize.
Wow.
That we are not our emotions, that we feel them and then they pass.
Well, so the Irish have made it physically impossible to identify with an emotion. That's really cool.
Well, you can identify with it, but you are not it. Like,
Isn't that what
I
identify?
I guess, like, you can, I
You
guess,
just like when I'm wrong.
yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. I think the way I would say this for us is like, oftentimes we say, I am sad, I am angry. And one little tweak that I found in my life, rather than saying those statements and like disqualifying the emotion altogether and saying like, oh no, I don't feel sad or I don't feel mad. It's, I feel sad. I feel angry right now.
Yeah.
Because when you say that, you're acknowledging that you have these feelings, but you are not, like you said, identifying with them. You are not them.
Yeah. I don't say I feel blank or I try not to. I think for me, the even more distance I get, the better. So I'll sometimes say my mind is producing anxious thoughts right now. So it like separates it even further. Like I am not my thoughts. I am not my emotions. I am way above them. I am up here on this higher
That's
plane.
Next level stuff right there.
Hell yeah. I feel like we actually learned this in our meditation retreat way back in the day.
Yeah.
We meditated for 100 hours in 10 days. And when you're sitting for that long, your legs actually feel like someone lit a lighter right under your legs because that's how on fire they feel. And what you're taught in this Vipassana meditation retreat is to practice equanimity.
Yeah.
And basically the underlying truth with that is that nothing is permanent. All things pass. All of these sensations that you're experiencing are passing sensations. And the really funny thing is when you watch the physical sensation, when you sit there and watch the burning sensation and you don't get attached to it and start telling yourself this story like, oh my God, my legs are on fire, and you watch the physical aspect of it, eventually it kind of like changes, and the burning sensation just changes into like a tingling sensation, and then it changes into like a full flowing energy field. Like your sensations are always changing was the moral of the story there.
And just as your emotions are always changing.
Exactly. So I think I've made this mistake a lot on this podcast, and I've actually gotten feedback from multiple people saying, you say on every podcast that you're anxious. Stop doing that. Stop saying that you're anxious on every single episode because it's becoming your identity. And also everyone's getting sick of hearing about your anxiety. So the more I show up on this podcast and say, yeah, I did it again. I'm anxious. I'm an anxious person. The more I am attaching myself to being an anxious person.
Yeah.
Whereas if I can say something like, my mind was producing anxious thoughts again, that's me recognizing a pattern and rising above that thought and emotion and separating from it and having more peace. So to all the people I've been pissing off with all my anxiety rants, I'm sorry. I love you.
That's good self-awareness there, bro.
Yeah. Say,
What's the call to action for today?
real quick, before we get the call to action, there is some science. I like to throw in a little bit of science.
Mike
each
Science
episode.
Corner.
Mike Science Corner. There's an actual name for this in psychology. At this point, we might as well just like get a PhD in psychology for all these episodes because I feel like we are getting our own just for making.
Yeah, we don't need somebody to tell us that we have a PhD. We can do it
So
ourselves.
what this is called is emotional distancing. Basically, what I'm learning is psychologists just like make fancy terms for shit that are like common sense, but just like super fancy names.
Yeah.
Kind of like everybody.
And then
Lawyers
they
do
write
this.
papers and
Yeah.
publish them, and now they're psychologists.
No, I don't want to actually. I don't want anybody to get upset about what I just said, but whatever. If you're a psychologist, mad respect. You did your thing, but there's truth to what I said.
The truth to what you're saying is that it's not always the person with the degree that has to get the most credit. Like we're in a day and age where there's so much information readily available that you can you can have the same level of value as someone who went to school for all these years if you dedicate yourself and study yourself. That's what you're trying to say.
Yeah, I'm a college dropout, so it makes sense that I'm the one saying this.
Right, so let's get back to the point here. So what did the psychologist say?
So they call it emotional distancing, and it's exactly what it sounds like. It's stepping back from your emotions instead of fusing with them. So when you're in therapy and you're talking about how you feel, like I feel anxious, I feel blah, 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 it's getting you to say, well, you're experiencing that emotion right now. Like it's basically putting them a little bit further away from you so that you can find inner peace, right? So I think a lot of times we try to manage our emotions, change our emotions, when really the key is stepping back from them altogether. It's just noticing our emotions and recognizing that they are passing states and not permanent states. I think that's what today's episode is all about.
That's great. So what's the call to action?
I don't have one. No, I'm kidding. I have one. It's to speak Irish.
I like it.
Very simple. So it's to catch yourself in an emotion at some point today. That's the challenge for today. Find yourself saying, I am feeling blank, or I am anxious, I am stressed. Stress is a really common one. And just shift it to, I'm experiencing stressful thoughts right now. I am experiencing feelings of stress right now. Recognizing them as a passing state and speaking Irish.
I like it. Okay. Love it. Thanks for hanging out with us. We love you.
Peace.
Thank you so much for listening all the way to the end.
If you're new here, we share daily mindset motivation in 10 minutes or less.
So if that's your vibe, hit subscribe or check out another episode right here.